Hey guys, it's Will from the Powers Not Included podcast. I'm happy to say that I'll be part of the Golden Triangle Comic Con this year. Looking forward to the guests like Steven Russell. Looking forward to the tournaments with Magic the Gathering. The Smash Brothers tournament, there's going to be a $2,000 pot. That should be fun. I'm sure I'll get knocked out in the first round, but I'm excited to meet you guys. And another part of the Comic Con, the comics. And right now I have an Avengers #1. It's signed by Stan Lee. But who's Alfred Medley? And I have a guy right now that's going to do a documentary, Harry, that's going to tell you all about it. How are you doing, Harry?
I'm doing great. So, Alfred Medley was a teenager who grew up in New Orleans in the French Quarter area, and he collected comic books. He basically assembled a collection of 900 comic books, mostly Marvel stuff like Avengers #1, a bunch of early Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, all the Marvel greats.
All the ones you want to keep on.
All the ones you want to keep. He was part of that Marvel generation, and he stamped his name on the covers of all these comic books.
Did that decrease the value?
Well, some people think it increases the value as being part of it. And that's kind of one of the things is that, so basically, Alfred grew up and moved out of New Orleans in the 70s, and in the early 80s, his parents decided they wanted to get rid of all this clutter of all these comic books. So they wanted to sell them and get rid of all this junk. So he ended up selling off the collection. His father sold the collection, but Alfred's a junior. So people thought that the collection was actually the father's collection. And he ended up selling it to a man named Sheldon Margulis that owned a comic shop in New Orleans called Comic Book Heaven.
That's
Actually,
cool.
It was called Cat Food's Comic Book Heaven, and Cat Food was his pet parrot that was really a penguin. So...
Whoa, pause. Pet parrot that was a penguin.
That was a penguin, yes.
He had a penguin in New Orleans?
No, it was a parrot, but he insisted it was a penguin. So if you walked into that shop in 1983...
There was a funny smell in the air.
When you saw this parrot and you said, hey, that's a nice parrot. What's the parrot's name? He would just go on this rant about how it's not a parrot, it's a penguin.
So there's a lot of eccentric people in this story.
So there's some eccentric people in the story. And then basically how I got the comic was that in 1987, I was at BSI Comics, which was kind of a rival comic book shop of Cat Food's Comic Book Heaven. And the owner there was named Carl Tupper. And I bought it from Carl. And Carl was the cranky old guy in the wheelchair who liked to yell and scream.
How much did you buy this for?
So in 1987, I bought this for $62. So pretty good investment, I think.
Yeah.
And Sheldon, I bought a Avengers #4 from Sheldon when I was 11 for $4 in 1984.
I don't even want to ask how much that's worth now.
It's kind of crazy. But I think these three people, Alfred Medley, Sheldon Margulis, and Carl Tupper, are just very central figures, at least for me, in the New Orleans comic book scene, especially in the 80s, because there wasn't a whole lot of it. There were a lot of bookstores that became comic book stores from the 70s and the 80s, and BSI is still around today.
That's cool.
Owned by Jason Garzoulis, who's let me shoot there actually this past year, doing a lot of interviews for this.
And so you got the documentary coming out for this.
Yes, I actually tracked. Basically, what happens? I tracked down Alfred Medley. I looked for him on the internet first, and eventually tracked down an address and wrote a letter, and then we kind of started this letter correspondence. And then he was going to be in New Orleans over this past Mardi Gras. So I met him in New Orleans and interviewed him during Mardi Gras, which was kind of crazy situation.
Wild.
It was pretty crazy. It was fun. And I've become friends with this 72-year-old man. So
that's pretty fun. So when can people expect to see this?
Well, I'm hoping to have it done by September 10th, 2018. That's the 55th anniversary of when the Avengers #1 came out.
Awesome.
So I kind of feel like that's a good release date. Right now, I'm still in the editing mode, and I feel like I still have another year or so of kind of finishing up the project. But 2018 is September 2018 is my planned release date.
So 2019, you're going to do Golden Triangle Comic Con and come see the fans.
Exactly, definitely. I've already been kind of doing some fan meetings at BSI in New Orleans and at 901 Comics here in Memphis. And, hopefully I'll end up doing some other ones in the meantime. So there's a Facebook page for Who the Hell is Alfred Medley. You can look it up, and I haven't been updating it recently, but I'll get on that now that I'm kind of back in the swing after this recent, after getting over the Mardi Gras hangover.
I hear that.
So
It's been a couple months. You had a good time in Mardi Gras.
I had a good time in Mardi Gras. So
I'll have to go next year. So anyways, we're at 901 Comics here in Memphis, and I want to say thank you to Grind City Geek for filming this for us. And I'm Will again with Powers Not Included. We will be shooting live, similar setup at the Golden Triangle Comic-Con coming up next month, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys there, and all the costumes and cosplay and gaming. And thank you for tuning in. And again, Harry, thank you for coming on.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right.